Hello, good morning, and welcome to CIO Leadership Live Middle East. My name is Andrea Benito, editor at CIO Middle East, and today we welcome George Eapen, Group CIO at Petrofac. Hello, George, how are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm good. How are you?
All good. Really happy to have you here today with us. Thank you so much for your time, George.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, before we start, I want to ask you to brief to our audience about your journey as a business leader until your current position at Petrofac. What challenges have you have to overcome to reach the position where you are today?
Oh, that's a great question to start with, Andrea. So I have 16-year long career in which I'm currently the group CIO of Petrofac. But before I started this job in 2020, I was the group CISO of Petrofac from 2018 to 2020. And before that, I spent 12 years with General Electric, where I did multiple jobs, like including a role in quality, including a role in internal audit, multiple leadership roles like CTO, CIO, CISO. So my journey, it's just like a normal journey, like any other professional. I started my career with G back in 2006. So what I think I have done in my career was I always actually went with the flow, and I always said yes to new challenges which came. I was not much picky in my beginning part of the career. So I was that kind of, resource the leadership used to throw in different direction, because I was always ready for new challenges, and some of them were not as exciting as my previous challenge, right? In the beginning part of my career, I still remember went for an assignment in United States where the job was actually documentation, and it was like quite a long assignment, and it was not an exciting job if you compare to a development of a code. And a lot of my friends kind of not interested in that particular assignment said no to it, but I said yes. And that opportunity gave me a lot of visibility, a lot of leadership at that time in the US, in GE, which actually helped me to get into few other bigger opportunities later in my career. So I will say, being open to challenges, not being too picky, not confine yourself to certain areas. That was something which I did. The second thing, I will say I was blessed in my entire career to work with amazing set of people with me, people in my team, and great mentors, and they always took care of me. So yeah, at end of the day, enjoy what you're doing. So that's it in a nutshell. So I absolutely like what I'm doing, and I make a point to have fun at work.
I'm not surprised to hear you saying new challenges because I guess that when you changed to CISO to CIO, that was a huge step, but also a big challenge for you because we all know that a CIO and a CISO have to work together, but at the operations and the work, it's different. I'm pretty sure that you need it also to change your mindset, but was good for you because as a CISO, you knew what you needed from the CIO. And we will talk about that later. But first of all, I would like to ask you, in your opinion, what are the gains that the oil and gas or energy industry has made in digital business transformation?
I think all the industries are going through a radical digital transformation. And we have seen how, in fact, COVID and remote working pushed a lot of industries to adopt or embrace digital more. Definitely, oil and gas industry is not an exception for this change which happened, impacted all of us. Uh, and last few years, oil price has been fluctuating. Right now, it's quite high, but we also have seen oil price dropping below $10, right?
Mhm.
What it means is there is always a huge pressure on your profitability. There is always pressure to get these things done with less resources and less cost. And when an organization goes through that phase, they look at digital to make things faster, cheaper, and efficient. Maybe through automation, maybe through better use of AI, ML technology, better use of digitalization. So So in personally last 3 years, I have seen a lot going in digital in oil and gas industry, purely because the industry has been challenged with all the macroeconomic changes, and we have to be smarter in what we are doing, and we have to be more efficient. Um, we also see that oil and gas industry traditionally deals with a lot of legacy technologies. It's slightly different if you compare it with the banking or an industry which is more updated. So you will see a lot of operational technology platforms in the energy industry which may be built maybe decades ago. So you will always end up with facing, yeah, you want to drive digital transformation, but you still have some legacy systems which you still need to run basically based on some operational reasons. How do you balance it? So it's not so easy. Also, it's not an easy process. So you have to really look into the details and find a strategy to make that work.
Talking about balance, how do you compete in such a new high-tech environment? How are you driving digital transformation within Petrofac?
So that's a great question. So my strategy is I'm not competing with anyone, because every organization need to have their own strategy. If your strategy is based on what other organization is doing, it may not help you in your purpose. So what I have done is, me and my leadership team, we sat together, we came up with a multi-year plan where we agreed to do three things. One is an internal looking approach, where we went to our stakeholders in my company who has more interaction with our customer base, like country managers, business development team, who talks to customers more often than my IT or digital team, and heard from them what is our customer requirements. And since we are a global multinational company, the requirements from an upstream energy customer in Australia is very different from a downstream customer in Middle East. The requirement is different for a brownfield solution versus greenfield solution. So our customer were not having the same portfolio profile. So it was not single size fits all. So we got a lot of different perspectives of what our customer needs. The second, what we did was we did an external looking approach, where we did benchmarking with our peer group of companies to see what they are doing, what they're investing, where are they in their journey versus us. That gives us a honest reflection of, are we over investing or under investing? Are we ahead of the game or behind the curve? But it gives a little bit of self reflection. The third part is called as forward looking journey, where we are working with bigger partners. We call them as our digital partners. There are four organizations, big ones that we work closely. Microsoft is one, Aviva, Nvidia. So we are trying to understand with them what are they seeing in the industry, because they work with a lot of companies similar to Petrofac or similar size. So they have more insight. They have a bigger R&D team. So hear from them, what are the changes they see in the industry. This is very important, Andrea, because you don't want to build some capability which may take a couple of years to build, and you see that entire area got disrupted by the wave. So we really need to have a forward-looking view to understand, hey, where is the industry going? Do you think this problem statement will be relevant 5 years from now? So once we did this exercise, we collected all the inputs that we got from this inward-looking, forward-looking, external-looking, and it was a lot of insights. That helped us to do prioritization, to figure out, yes, you cannot do all these things. You can only do maybe 20% of what you learned in this exercise, and where do you invest your money. So that's one approach where we are driving our digital strategy. And the second thing that we also did was, as I mentioned, I'm not competing with anyone. My only objective is to make my organization more efficient and leaner. You also need to see how ready are you, right? Um, so what I mean by that is, actually, you cannot drive digital transformation if you have not done digitalization properly, and you cannot drive
I like that.
digitalization. Yes, you cannot drive digitalization if you don't have good infrastructure and good cybersecurity practices. So just consider this like building a house. You need to have a strong fundamental before you build a multi-story house. to me, the strong fundamental is good infrastructure and good cybersecurity, right? And to give an example, you cannot do predictive analytics in an onshore platform in the middle of a desert if you are still on ESAT, if you don't have good internet connectivity. So these are like basic hygiene factors to drive digital. So once you reach that stage, then digitalization is all about you are not changing the processes, you're just digitalizing the processes. And the third step is transformation, where you are actually challenging the process. You are changing the process, make it better. And we also kind of call it as optimization and transformation, where the definition of optimization is you are improving something to make yourself better and efficient, it's optimization. But if you are doing something to create a capability which is going to be customer facing, we call it as transformation, because we see that's an opportunity for us to differentiate us from our peer group and generate more revenue.
And now the big question, George, as you mentioned, you joined Petrofac as CISO, now you are the CIO. How did you face that change? And now how do you support the business in your new role?
I think I loved being a CISO, and I have been CISO in major part of my career, and I really loved being in that role. And I absolutely love being a CIO. Right now, what I learned about myself in my transition from a CISO to CIO was that what makes personally me happy or keep going is an opportunity to drive transformation or change. So as a CISO, both the organization where I did the CISO role, BG or Petrofac, they gave me an opportunity to do a cyber transformation. If I talk specifically about Petrofac, I got an opportunity with my team to rebuild the Indian cybersecurity portfolio from a greenfield situation, which was great story for a cyber transformation. And that transformation aspect, I really liked it. But when I become the CIO, I saw I have a bigger remit. I can now drive transformation on the digital side. We are also implementing Oracle Cloud, which means I can drive transformation on that space. We were also in the journey of moving things to from our on-prem data center to cloud, so I can do transformation on the cloud side. So what I really liked was the ability to drive transformation. In CISO, I was restricted to cyber transformation, but as a CIO, it expanded to digital and cloud. The second part I really like, which I feel as a CIO I'm getting bigger opportunity, is to take care of people and talent, nurture talent, because I am a beneficiary of great mentors around me when I was growing up in my early stages of career. And I and my leadership team, we find it extremely important to grow the next generation of talent. And as a CIO, I get that opportunity to really one, help our existing employees to upskill them, cross-skill them, give them new challenges, keep pushing them to, give them opportunity to enrich their knowledge, but also hire fresh graduates from the colleges who probably are the next generation and help them develop skill sets. So I think as a CIO, I'm getting bigger opportunity to do that talent because I have a bigger team. But fundamentally, I love being a CISO and I love being a CIO. And that transformation personally for me was quite easy. And forget about all the technical skills that you need. Look, as a leader, there are a few skills that you need. One, knowledge of business, right? As a CISO, I had to understand business very much in depth, because you don't want to implement a control which is going to disrupt the business eventually, because CISO has to enable business. So the knowledge I acquired as a CISO actually helped me a lot to transition to a CIO. So yeah, that's the transition for me personally.
I think that drives me directly to one question that I wanted to ask you, because sometimes CIOs have to take really, or even cybersecurity, crucial decisions, and we all make mistakes. We are humans, and we forget sometimes there is a human and a team behind taking decisions. So I wanted to ask you about humans in the field of a CIO role or a CISO role, where you need to take big decisions. How do you make those decisions? How are you a human leader for your team?
Look, I think we need to acknowledge the human element in the CISO and CIO role. Um, so there are different skill set needed for each role. If you look at CISO, I'll switch to CIO later, but as a CISO, I believe the key skills you need is leadership, cybersecurity knowledge, which is the technical knowledge part, and the third is business knowledge, right? But to me personally, the biggest skill set a CISO should have is ability to take decisions on a timely manner, and some of those decisions will not be easy, right? It's all about risk mindset and how do you manage the risk, and sometimes you need to make a decision. So in a nutshell, a CISO cannot be a fence sitter. He cannot be someone who will look upwards to take that decision on his behalf, delegate upwards, delegate sidewards. It will not work, right? To me, all those intrinsic skills, keep it aside. You cannot be a CISO if you cannot make a decision on time, if you are not ready to take on risk, which may have a little bit of personal liability also at sometimes, right? But of course, your decision has to be based on data. Your decision has to be based on facts. You have to do your homework. As a CIO, I have to take a lot of decisions on a timely manner, and very similar to as a CISO. But you need to work very well with your team, and you need to make sure you have the right team, because you have to trust the inputs of your own team on certain things, because you cannot be an expert in everything. You need to acknowledge that you are not the expert in every single thing as a CIO, because you are managing a broad spectrum of things. So the question is, do you have an expert in that area who you can trust as a trusted advisor? And learn from mistakes, right? What I have seen is, again, sometimes we get into this ego of, yeah, that's my decision, I'll stick to it, right? But what if your decision was wrong based on the best judgment you took or based on all the available facts, but you realize at some point of time, yeah, it was not the right decision? Please accept with humility and learn from it and do a course correction. There's no space for ego in our roles, right? And third and final thing is, sometimes you delegated something to someone and that person has taken a decision which may not be right. Actually, the human element, we cannot get it correct all the time, right? So I always back people when probably back them more when something has not gone in the right direction, as long as the effort and it was actually it was done in the proper way and the effort was right, and there's always space for an honest mistake or a noble failure, if I can put
Mhm.
it. So back your team. Don't actually throw them under the bus because something has not gone right, because as a leader you are not becoming creating a credible brand for yourself.
I like that you say that we all need to learn from mistakes. That's something great coming from a leader and a CIO. George, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to have you in CIO Leadership Live Middle East.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and thanks again for having me.